at their midweek performance at Dunfermline. And there's the first involvement for Mark McGee, the Celtic centre forward, in the side this afternoon, replacing the injured Frank McAvenny, who pulled a hamstring against Dunfermline in midweek. So a very dangerous situation for Falkirk to handle early in the match. Played shot for Aiken, and the shot goes wide. Roy Aiken, the scorer of the late penalty kick against Morton last week, but out of luck that time. Headed by Morris, helped away by McCarthy. Walker to start. Stark winning possession again for Celtic, seeing a lot of the ball in the early stages. Billy Stark showing lots of confidence. Set up for McGee. Well saved by Marshall. And the cover was provided in the end by May. And Mark McGee coming very close to the opening goal. But the creative work was done once again by Billy Stark, taking this surging run from his own half, committing the Falkirk defence, setting it up for Mark McGee, and this was good goalkeeping from Gordon Marshall. Gordon Marshall has had 6 shutouts in his last 8 matches. McCarthy wins the high ball from Baptiste. Joe Miller looking for a run from Grant. Burgess is the covering player for Falkirk. Tackle came from Morris. That'll be a corner kick. Stuart Burgess going across to make the tackle. Former East Fife centre half. And Celtic have the corner kick, which will be taken over on the far side by Joe Miller. It's back with Morris. Headed on from McGee. Well, Mark McGee finding gaps among the Falkirk defenders. Coming very close again. It's a fine cross this. Corner kick short from Joe Miller. There was Morris, the near post ball. McGee was there first, and the header's off target. The injured Celtic striker Frank McAvenny in the director's box beside Alan McKnight, the reserve goalkeeper. Bouncing through towards Walker, Manley steps in. Miller to Walker. Well, that's good play from Andy Walker. They're waiting in the middle. Billy Stark. Back across to Walker. Swept away by Nicholl from the toe of Mark McGee. Good defending again by Falkirk. Andy Nicholl making the right interception that time. And here's Billy Stark for Celtic. Liverpool Mains. Led away by Burgess. McGibbon wins it from Derek White. Good play by McWilliams. There's Romains and McVeigh into Stewart in the middle. Baptiste's over on the left, he's offside. Not a lot in that, but Robin Baptiste held up again. So a fine piece of defending after Billy Stark looped this across. Andy Walker did well, a very dangerous header inside. McGee was waiting, but Nicholl got there first. Oh, here's Roy Aiken. Now Grant. Well gathered by Stark. Morris once again. Good play from Walker. This Paul McStay. Waiting in the middle is McGee. Andy Walker. 29 minutes gone and the Falkirk resistance is broken. Relief for the Celtic fans. Gordon Marshall bitterly disappointed when he made an excellent save in the first instance. And Andy Walker collects his 24th goal of the season. It was Morris who set it up, playing it forward. Was played by Andy Walker into the path of Paul McStay. Walker makes lots of ground here, racing into the 6-yard box. It's flighted towards McGee. The first time shot, a fine point-blank save by Marshall, but Walker follows up. So a fine season for Andy Walker, back after injury. Scored again early on Wednesday night against Dunfermline. Baptiste. Headed away by Aiken. McStay towards Grant. A tough challenge by McWilliams. Morris to McGee. And towards Andy Walker. Walker showing excellent control again. Grant to White. Good play, setting up space for Joe Miller on the left. Starks dummy! Brilliantly saved by Marshall from Mark McGee. Well, this is great football once again. Derek White drawing defenders to him, setting up the pass for Joe Miller. Now look at this dummy from Billy Stark. Setting up the shooting chance for McGee, and superb goalkeeping from Marshall. Celtic's throw taken quickly by White. Here's Mark McGee. Inside towards Grant. Here's McGee. Swept away by McWilliams under the crossbar. Marshall wanted an offside flag, and the linesman has obliged, I think. Great play again from Celtic. Peter Grant bolted at the edge of the box. Good sleight of foot from Mark McGee, playing it across, and in the end there was an offside decision against Andy Walker. There's Morris. Stay back to the fullback, but it's picked up now by Bapty for Falkirk. Andy Nicol sprints forward on the right. Bapty calls for the high ball inside. Nicol trying to oblige. Bapty goes up, wins the header, and that's a goal to Falkirk. And the referee is chalking that off. Well, now shaking the head from Crawford Bapty, and I fancy that's a major let-off for Celtic. Well, the 6'2" frame of Crawford Bapty getting to that. Now let's see it again. Bapty setting up the move himself. Playing in wide for Andy Nicol. Now Bapty was calling for the high ball inside. Nicol provided it. Bonner underneath it. Bapty got up early. Well, that could easily have been given. Crawford Bapty, in my view, unlucky not to have that goal stand. So a controversial moment and relief for Pat Bonner. Crawford Bapty getting up early, hanging in the air and appearing to go about his business fairly, but the goal is chopped off and Pat Bonner is greatly relieved. With a chance though for Billy Stark to make it 2. Now Mark McGee. And the cruelest of fortune for Falkirk. 5 minutes from half-time. It could so easily have been one apiece, but it's now 2-0 to Celtic, and Mark McGee has his 6th goal of the season. Well, it was a very simply created goal. Pat Bonner's long kick out. A headed clearance in the first instance, returned by Derek White. Breaking then to Andy Walker. Billy Stark getting away from his marker, finding lots of space. This was good finishing play by Stark. Spotting McGee in space, and Marshall couldn't keep it out. Tough tackling again in midfield. Here's Romains clashing with Aiken. The 2 number 4s together, and a tough tussle between the 2 players. Referee Mike McGinley will have a word with the Falkirk player, who appeared to become just a little bit overheated. Aiken too being spoken to. And the Falkirk anger, I'm no doubt stemming from that controversial minute. But here was Romains gathering the ball, tackled well there by Aiken. A loose ball, both players trying to get up to make for the ball again. Romains certainly holding back Aiken. And the free kick, I'm sure, will go to Celtic. Bonner. Up goes Burgess. Headed on from Peter Grant. McGee sending it over, and headed away by Manley. Corner kick in the closing seconds of the first half. McGee will be asked to take it, I think. Short one to Joe Miller. The out swinging cross. Marshall takes it cleanly for Falkirk. Well, a very good first half from Gordon Marshall, but he has lost 2 goals, neither of which were his fault, that's for sure. And there goes the half-time whistle. Celtic going in with a comfortable lead, 2-0. But you have to have tremendous sympathy for Falkirk, who certainly were aggrieved about that goal from Bapty being chopped off. But Andy Walker got the first goal and Mark McGee the second. McGee involved in both the Celtic goals. Half-time score, Celtic 2, Falkirk 0. A major fight back sought now by Falkirk in this second half, trailing by 2-0. But they have the memory of a fighting performance at Celtic Park back in October to reassure them somewhat that they're not out of this yet. They came back from 3 goals behind to lose only 3-2 to Celtic in that league game, so they'll be looking for a very quick start to the second half. And there's a foul by Aiken on Bapty. No question that Crawford Bapty has caused problems for the Celtic defence this afternoon. So a free kick for Falkirk in a very promising position over on the far side. Stuart Burgess has joined the attack. With Burgess and Bapty in the box, Falkirk present a potent threat to the Celtic defence. There's McGivern, and that was just wide of the post. Pat Bonner appeared to be unsighted by Roy Aiken. Well, all the big men missed out by this flighted cross from Rab Stewart, but it's Sam McGivern, perhaps the smallest player in the Falkirk side, who got the header on, and Bonner saw it late. Came off the head of Burgess. It's turned back by Romains. McGee's head flick. Here's Derek McWilliams. The goal to White. Nickel again. Bapty challenged firmly by McCarthy, but here's Bapty free on the right. McGivern waits in the middle, so does Stewart. A great chance for Falkirk, but it's Roy Aiken to the rescue for Celtic. But an uncertain start to the second half from Celtic. Falkirk taking the initiative and now trying to keep the pressure on. Short one this time, Stewart to McGivern. Here's Stewart again towards Bapty. That appeared to come off the Falkirk striker. The referee and linesman disagreed about that, but the referee said the goal kick to Celtic. Celtic assistant manager Tommy Craig clearly unhappy about the start to the second half from his team. Walker holding off Manley. McGee trying to lay it into the path of McStay. It's all very tough in that area in midfield, but Celtic win possession again. Here's Paul McStay. Morris calls for the ball ahead. Good running by the fullback. And excellent positioning again by Marshall. And Morris willing as ever again to make those surging forward runs. Turned away by Aiken for the corner kick. Falkirk looking to cash in on those rare opportunities when they can get at the Celtic back four. Rab Stewart flights it in. Bonner comes to meet it. Here's Stewart. Back to McVeigh. Was deflected. Another corner kick. John McVeigh had a very powerful shot in that right boot. So to the left side now for the corner kick. Touched back well. Good work by Rab Stewart. Hit with a lot of power by McVeigh. Played in by McWilliams. Helped on by Bonner to Romains. Bapty got there first. Using his height again to good effect, but the accuracy of the header wasn't there. So this ball appeared to be misjudged slightly by Bonner in the breeze. Romains lofting it over the keeper. Bapty getting up, but under pressure, nodding it wide. McCarthy using his strength in the challenge with Bapty. McGee going in on Burgess. Centre half makes the clearance. Here's McStay. Now Stark. That's for McGee. Walker and Miller wait in the middle, so to Stark. It was blocked by Manley. It appeared to be bound for the corner of the net. And again, great creative play on the right from Chris Morris and Mark McGee. Falkirk player on the ground as play continues with Miller back on the left for Celtic. Grant is inside. Here's Billy Stark. McGee inside towards Grant. And it breaks back to Gordon Marshall. Well, that could easily have been a third goal for Celtic. It was well set up with Mark McGee pulling it back. Billy Stark's first time shot, and Manley was in the way. Handball by McGee. Mark McGee clearly feels he was pushed from the back as he went for the high ball. That's why he handled it, but little chat with Roddy Manley before a free kick can be taken. So Manley's free kick for Falkirk. Bapty's the target. McCarthy's with him. There's Burgess. Well, Stuart Burgess certainly is a lively customer inside the opposing box. The scorer of half a dozen goals so far this season. And it's not difficult to see why when you watch his action around the box here. Coming onto this ball, winning it with a strong challenge and letting fly for goal. There's McGee. Joe Miller is back on the right. Get away from McWilliams. That's towards Walker. He was offside anyway, but fine piece of play by Joe Miller. Walker sending the final shot wide, but good running this. Watch the way Miller comes inside the fullback here, just out of your picture. Now comes inside, makes a couple of yards for himself, plays that into space for Andy Walker, who is offside. Distance achieved by McCarthy here, right into the box. Burgess wins it. Breaks now for McWilliams. Here's Hill. Put under pressure by McStay. The ball falls to McCarthy. Good play again from Celtic. McStay going towards the byline, and Burgess made the tackle. But a good match at centre half. Stuart Burgess. Solid figure in the heart of that Falkirk defence. Short corner kick prepared this time. Joe Miller now coming towards Andy Nicholl. To the byline, and it's Burgess once again attacking the ball as the cross came in. McCarthy waits at the far corner of the box this time to make a run at the corner kick from Joe Miller. Nicholl was there first. There's Aiken. Over on the far side is Billy Stark. Towards Walker. Well, he clearly thought someone was coming in behind for Celtic. Well, I don't know if Andy Walker could have reached that cross, but he certainly left it quite deliberately. There's Miller again with a corner kick. Missed this time by Burgess. It's Billy Stark. Marshall couldn't catch it. Remains with the clearance. This one from Peter Grant, ball bobbling awkwardly. going up with his foot up, and it'll be an indirect free kick to Falkirk. McWilliams sending it into the centre box. Up goes Bapty. Given and Aiken together. Aiken wins it. Here's Miller. Big inside McWilliams. Away from the fullback. Wide now for Stark. Still Billy Stark. Off the crossbar and over. Fine play from Celtic. Inspired by Joe Miller. That run with a deep finish on the right past McWilliams, playing it to Stark. Look at the way he evades this tackle, then sets himself up for the shooting chance. It dips over Marshall to the top of the crossbar. Alfred Bapty left all on his own from that kick out from Marshall, so an offside decision and a free kick to Celtic. Hill's clearance. Bapty trying to hold off McCarthy. It's all getting nasty. Hands were raised here. Mick McCarthy and Crawford Bapty. There's going to be serious trouble for Mick McCarthy, I'm sure. Bapty as well, I fancy, will be in bother. But Mick McCarthy raised his hand, and that could result in the ultimate sanction by referee Mike McGinley. Well, this is an anxious moment. Mick McCarthy was ordered off earlier in the season at Tynecastle, and he's in serious difficulty here, I reckon. Referee Mike McGinley waving aside opponents now. Crawford Bapty took a blow in the face from Mick McCarthy. No doubt in my mind about that. And it's the red card for Mick McCarthy. For the second time this season, the Republic of Ireland centre-half is ordered off for a flash of temper, resulting in a blow to Crawford Bapty. Here's how it all happened. Now, Bapty clearly leading into the centre-half here. That's what started the problem. McCarthy upset by the barging tactics of Bapty. It's a yellow for Bapty. Now that has incensed the Celtic fans. But Mick McCarthy, despite all his experience, being tempted into that rash blow with his right hand.
September 19.